We're joined today by actor Peter Horton. You might remember him from the TV show 30-something or the film Children of the Corn. But today we're talking about a new documentary he's involved in. It's called Roots So Deep You Can See the Devil Down There. Peter, how you doing today?
I'm waking up. How are you, Dustin?
I'm doing all right. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, you're working on a holiday. My goodness, what's that about?
Well, you're involved with the new documentary series, Roots So Deep You Can See the Devil Down There. Can you tell the listeners a bit about the new series?
Yeah, I'm so excited about it. This is something that was created by the director and documentary filmmaker Peter Bick, who did Carbon Cowboys and Carbon Nation, if you've ever heard of those movies. But this one's really spectacular. I'm so excited to be part of it. It's basically taking on the issue of climate change from a very practical, productive, helpful, tangible perspective that makes you feel hopeful around this issue. You know, it's a piece where what Peter did is he took a pair of farmers, 5 different pairs of farmers down in the southeast. One, and they're all neighbors. One of the farmers grazes his cattle conventionally, and the other one is grazing his cattle through a process called adaptive multi-paddock grazing, which is basically how the bison used to go through the Great Plains, where you keep moving them from paddock to paddock so that they don't eat the plant down to the nubs. They actually eat enough of it so that when they move on, when you move them to the next paddock, the plants go into intense photosynthesis and they start pulling carbon out of the air and putting it back into the soil where the microbes need it. And so basically it's a win-win for everybody because it helps the farmer get out of debt. It restores the depleted soils. It rebuilds wildlife habitat, and it draws down huge amounts of carbon. And that's the question. Is that all true? That's the question they ask him at the beginning of the piece. And he has a team of scientists that sort of follow him around trying to answer that question. And then the next question, which makes this thing so much fun and moving, is you really, really get to know the ranchers themselves, their families, their struggles, their challenges. And you find yourself laughing, you find yourself crying, and you find yourself really rooting for these people and hoping that it's true. And the question that overrides the whole thing then becomes, will the conventional farmer be moved enough by what he sees with his neighbor's farm and what the scientists come up with to actually change and adapt the adaptive grazing practices themselves? And that's the question he gets asked throughout all 4 of the episodes. And the answer to that comes in the 4th episode. I'm not going to give away the finale, but it's a real genuine question. You get to see them go through the process of whether they're going to be able to change or not. Even though what they're being offered is something that's, climate change is the benefit of it. But for them specifically, it's offering them a way to make their farm actually something they can depend on and rely on solely. They don't have to get an off the farm job. They can actually make money on their ranch if they do this. So it's a win-win situation for them. It's a win-win situation for the environment, and it's funny and it's moving. And I just think you got to see it. It's coming out on. You can access it starting tomorrow at rootsodeep.org. And you can download it, you can find out anything you want about it, but you're going to have a great time watching it. It's really moving, it's really fun, and it gives you a real sense of hope for our sort of constant battle against climate change. So I'm, as you can tell, I'm just sucked in by it. I just love it. I'm so excited about it. And I think people who watch it will feel the same.
Definitely. And as you mentioned, it's a 4-part series, and I've read that it actually was a long time in the making, something like 10 years or so. I mean, so you've been involved in this project for quite a while, it sounds like.
Well, I've been involved for a number of years, or a few years, but Peter Bick's been doing it for 10 years. This is his persistence and dedication to this is inspiring. He's relentless, but he's been on Bill Maher a couple of times for his other movie Carbon Nation, and go check it out. I mean, just look up for Peter Bick on Bill Maher, and you will laugh, and you will get why he's so charismatic and so effective at this. And it's a low piece of hanging fruit in the war on climate change. It really is. This is something that could bridge a gap. You know, we're taking this film around the Southeast and playing it for the ranchers that it's about. And the response from them is just so inspiring. They come out of it. It's no longer a political discussion about climate change. It becomes, how do we all band together and really make life better, not only in the climate change space, but for ranchers themselves. Ranchers are really struggling right now. They really have trouble making ends meet on their ranches. There's just so many costs and so many impositions on them by, large sort of corporations that govern feed and govern seed and govern pesticides and things like that they can't afford to stay on the ranches without getting an off-farm job. And this is a way to do that and help solve the existential crisis of our time. So that's why I'm so excited about it. And it's why Peter Bick has spent 10 years pursuing it. We really feel like this is could be a real turning point if we can get enough people to watch it.
Excellent. Again, Roots So Deep is available for download. And as you mentioned, a 4-part series, and of course, climate change affecting everybody. And I know we only have a few minutes here, so I wanted to ask you, talking about farming, and you got to talk about cornfields. We got to talk about Children of the Corn. I know it's been 40 years since that film came on. I wanted to ask you, are you surprised at how beloved that film has become over the last 40 years?
It's shocking to me. It's the little movie that could. It just keeps going. It's really funny. I mean, we made that movie thinking, this is a really great little Stephen King movie that we didn't have a lot of money to make it with, but it just seemed like a really fun thing to do, and we liked it a lot. We were really proud of it, but we're sure it would just come out and go. But the fact that it's kept going all these years, 40 years, it's created two separate fan bases for me. One is Thirtysomething, which is a very different audience, and the other is Children of the Corn. And I get approached in very different ways on those two fan bases. One is just very kind of reserved and comes up very respectfully how much they appreciated 30-something and whatnot. And the other one are just people who are just love that movie. They're so enthusiastic and so excited to meet me. It's a surprise. It's a wonderful surprise. I appreciate it. I really do.
I know you've been producing a lot of projects and doing a lot of work behind the scenes. Could we see you back in front of the camera anytime soon, or is that kind of in a rearview mirror these days?
Well, we're working really hard right now on trying to sell the reboot of 30-something, sort of updated version of 30-something.
Okay.
And we're pitching it all over town right now in hopes that someone says yes, because it's a great pitch. It would be fantastic. And if that happens, it would be the whole original cast, including me as a ghost, because I died on 30-something. But I would act as a ghost.
Okay.
Which would be a lot of fun. So there's that possibility out there too, which I'm really hopeful about.
Awesome. Yeah, hopefully that works out. And Peter, it's been an honor speaking with you. I'm excited for Roots So Deep here, and I'm excited to talk with you again someday. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. My pleasure. You take care.
And again, that was Peter Horton and the new documentary series he's involved with, Roots So Deep. You Can See the Devil Down There, is available now.